Ladies and gents, happy to say it. This is the first series, the first cast in Titans League Season 4. Titans League is back. Thank you, everybody. Gold League starts 2 weeks before Platinum League. So for the next 2 weeks, I'll be casting primarily Gold League. Then there will be essentially I think the next week and a half I'll be casting primarily Gold League. Then there will be a break where I will not cover as much Gold League as it will still be happening because Platinum League will begin. And every single Platinum League series will be covered. And we'll then eventually get to a dedicated week for Gold at the tail end to see who gets promoted, who gets relegated, how the playoffs go before Platinum comes in. Here's the group, later on YouTube anyways. Dracken's looking like one of the favorites in this group, and he is up against Wide, who was just promoted from Silver. So it is play all three. Every win counts, so even if you get completely demolished the first 2 games, if you somehow snag a win in the third, that could help you stay alive. Everyone wants to avoid being bottom 2 in the group. And we've got Pacific Islands here, game number 1. And just noticing here, there's actually a possibility, if certain players would see this, they could dock back here, and they could go for fish traps and a fish boom. Now, I don't actually think that's good on Pacific Islands because you would run out of wood pretty quickly. And you would need water control, so docks on the outside too. But it is actually a possibility here. And players start with a transport on Pacific Islands. And then there's the 2 islands towards the middle. So it's a migration style map. But the difference is you start with the transport. And so Dracken already scouted all of the shoreline here, which is interesting. And now he's brought his scout to the middle. So he used his transport right away. Now his scout's over on the right island. But Dracken was disappointed. He would have loved to have stayed in Platinum. And ever since Dracken's been in TTL, he's always taken it very seriously. I think there have been many players who have kind of underrated him a little bit. People kind of put him into the category of arena clown. And maybe he is. He is a fantastic arena player, but his strategy, in my opinion, is what sets him apart from some of the others. He actually can step foot onto other maps and do very well. And so we'll see what he can do here. He's really good on water maps. What I find about Dracken's play on water maps is he goes heavy commitment. So he doesn't, what he doesn't do is make a couple ships, get value, and then try and get to the next stage. He's very frequently the type of player who will go for an extra dock and a couple extra fires, basically. Wants to ensure that he wins that water. But I'm curious if this will be feudal age play, or if this will be some type of fast castle. If there was a civ that could maybe go fast castle, it could be the Italians, but I don't know if that's too feasible here. The Koreans could be pretty dangerous up against that, because Koreans could go for the galley opening here. And Wide has his dock up as well, and he's also fishing. And I'm going to be sipping my coffee, so bear with me. It's early here. Biggest, welcome back. Rain Dog, thank you. Fish Nerd, Q Brandon, Capitan, Prometheus, welcome, guys. Oh, wow, there's a tiger here. I don't recall there being tigers on this map. But, yeah, it looks like there's a couple wild animals out there. So if you send a villager in Dark Age, could potentially run into one. Should be fine. Players will be getting lumen. Players will be clicking up here. Wide is going to be clicking up anyways. So this might be 5 villagers headed this way to hop into the transport for a lumber camp. And then we have the same thing here from Dracken. Dracken doesn't have loom, but Wide loses most of his scout HP there. I don't think he was paying attention to that. I think he was messing with his transport in that moment and looked back a little bit later. So this could be for hunt. This could be for gold. This could also be for wood, of course. Just kind of depends on your build. But Dracken is not up yet. So this feels like a fast castle play for Dracken. And it would actually be huge if he kills Wide's scout now, because Wide won't have the intel. Yeah, Wide's going to be kicking himself for that. Keep in mind, Wide just got promoted. Like, it could have been seen as some type of huge success for him to just make it into gold. Not saying he doesn't have the skill to stay alive. He does, but, like, he's new generation. He doesn't have the years and years of experience of Dracken. And so almost expected that someone like him, especially because I don't consider him to be a water player per se, I would say it's almost expected that he would be going for the feudal age aggression as well. What is the pathing on that Vil? She decides to go back instead of to the lumber camp. So barracks now from wide, which makes me think that he will try and go for archers. If he goes for archers on this side, there's nothing to find, but he still also has that transport ship. Dracken making his mill now. He clicks up to feudal age. He'll bring more villas over here. I think it would have to be... Wide would have, if he's going to go archers, to add a spearman as well, right? Because he doesn't have a scout anymore. A pretty weird lumber camp, if you ask me. But I think Dracken wants to keep everything he can together here in case he needs a tower. And behind this, his plan is fast castle, but it will actually be rather tricky. He's about to run out of water buffalo. Any other Civ but Italians would really struggle here. I think he might just be able to get the resources. The fire galley's on the way from wide. Archer's on the way from wide. But this is... He's kind of at the limit right now. I think he was actually a little late on gold. I noticed he had one on gold before. I think the fire galley wasn't queued up immediately from him. So, a little shaky if you ask me from wide. And even this, like a mill on box turtles is weird to me. Why are we doing that when you could drop a mill here and take berries and take deer? First round, a map he hasn't played before unless he's practiced a lot. And I'm sure Dracken has practiced a ton for this, even though he's the favorite. Dracken will drop a stable here. The archers are still being massed. And the transport's now coming over here. So transport's on the way. Fire's on the way as well. That fire will head over to the dock, obviously, which he scouted from Dracken to try and kill some fish. And this is the critical moment, I think, for wide, because he won't be in Castle Age as quickly as Dracken. But if he can get the archers to Dracken's base, especially if Dracken still has some weak villagers, this could be devastating for Dracken. The resources aren't really there to get fletching. So that's not a possibility. But here come the archers. Now, it's kind of blocked off here. So this gives Dracken a moment to react to this. And I think he has to go for a tower. Yep, and he immediately sees it. This is why he placed his lumber camp and his mill next to each other. Because he knew the threat of archers could come. And there we are. We'll see if Wide can find the weak villager in there from earlier. Again, fletching isn't in yet. And tower's going to go up. And so he just repositions. So, nice shot from both players here. There is also the fire galley on the fish. So, this is the risk of the fast castle. Dracken's fire galley is here. But it isn't reacting yet. So, loses 2 of his fishing ships. And he was in that transport ship thinking about something. And now his transport is also being hit. Yeah, honestly, I think Wide's being a little too scared here. Wide could potentially come back. But I think he has different plans, guys. I think his plan is actually to go to the main island from Dracken. Oh, crap. This is crazy. See, Dracken's not expecting that. Dracken's thinking he can make a knight for the island if the archers come back. But the archers are going to be here. Oh, man, what a find. They might not be able to make it back. There might not be any more transports because that transport ship was being attacked. But here come the archers now. Did Dracken think, like, why is the transport there? I don't think he really thought about that. And the archers from wide find some real value here. That's huge. And he can keep moving around. There's villagers exposed over here. Dracken can't build a tower. Dracken also can't build a second TC because he towered. And look at this, though. You make a siege workshop on this island and you can't use it throughout the rest of the game. And where's the transport ship from Dracken now? Man, dude. If this transport ship would have gone down, Dracken's knights would offer no value. But he does have a knight that could potentially make it to his transport. And you could tell Wide is worried about that because he's pre-walling this in just in case. He obviously has lost track of that transport ship. So, a really difficult map to play. And an interesting game so far. I would say it's quite close. But Dracken is probably still in a slightly better position. The Scorpion could probably deal with the archers. He is in Castle Age. He has the upgraded ships. And the archers will come across now from wide. We'll see how the micro is. There's a lot to look at right now because he's looking at his own economy and 2 different groups of archers. And he sees the knight. He actually shot the deer. And he's going to pull back to the shoreline. So it's kind of tough for Dracken. Dracken needs to get in here with some navy. Dracken, also his fishing ships aren't fishing. I mean, it's messy. His fire galleys are over here. There's a lot to look at right now. Well played from wide to apply pressure, guys. Can you guys tell that wide is just faster? I don't know if Capture Age will support that, but to me, it feels as though wide is just faster. And maybe it's just because he's invested into more aspects of the game. He still hasn't lost these archers. And he's been a real pain here. And the archers go for another villager kill. They won't get it. But still hovering around, still circling around here is wide. And now I think, as exciting as it is to make more archers, I actually think the key for him would be to make more ships, to make more navy. Because that's where Dracken is going to start to recover here. And finally, it took some time, but finally Drakken's getting the hits he wants here on these archers. And wide is clearly distracted. Looked like they was microing it for a second. Would be pretty annoying for Dracken if he ends up losing the Scorpion here. But he won't lose it. The repair comes in. All the archers go down. Well played, Dracken. Dracken in business. Fire galleys looping around. And he's Italians after all on water. This is what they want. And there's fire galleys in the middle as well. So wide will not be able to transport anything more to the island from Dracken. This will likely become a bit of a boom game. And by boom game, I mean demo. Okay, if he would have hit slightly faster, it would have been way more epic. But you get my point. Now, what's interesting about this is that the water control doesn't actually offer a lot for Dracken right now. It stops the transporting. And I guess it allows his own transport. But it doesn't do anything about this eco that Wide's going to have. And Wide, throughout all of that, added a lot of farming eco. He's in a good spot to go 2 TC, 3 TC in the middle. And this game will most likely go late from here. Dracken drops the 2nd TC. We'll probably see the 3rd as well from him. And he will have some fishing ships that his opponent won't have. But even that, like the fish on this map, pretty inefficient. So this adds some control and confidence to someone like Drakken's position, because it's always good to have the shoreline locked down. At some point, Wide is going to have to recover there. But honestly, it doesn't immediately damage Wide, at least for the time being. I think the stable's a little weird to me. Is he... Oh, wow. Okay, so his transport's still alive, so he's going to try and use this. All right. I would have expected a monastery so you can collect relics. Okay, well, there go the archers and spears. They'll actually do okay against the knights because the knights have no upgrades. And then, so kills a knight, and now there's a knight here as well. So Drakken's going to be annoyed with himself because he thought he had this area locked down. I don't know if this knight's going to make the party, though. Oh, dude. Go! Go! Move! No, not that way! Not that way! Not that way! Not that way! Yikes! The knight can't swim. There's too many things happening right now, but I still think this is some pretty good harassment here. It's disrupting Dracken. It's slowing down his boom a little bit. In the end, I think with the way the micro is going, Dracken will end up clearing it up anyways. And the TC will definitely go up for Dracken. He'll be okay. Annoying, but not the end of the world. Loses 1 vil. He's going to lose 2 vils. Okay. It looks like he also killed another knight here from wide on the shoreline, so... This is what Gold League's going to be about. I think especially the first week, but like, because we're also coming off the holiday season, so I think some people have been taking some breaks here or there. But you guys could tell, really talented players but some occasional missteps with a unit here or there. And that's just because the very top are virtually flawless. We would never see a transport go down like that, right? But when you're looking at 25 to 50, you do still see those things happen from time to time. Doubt said, and maybe I shouldn't say this publicly, but Doubt was like, he's like, Gold League and Silver League is true Age of Empires. He's like, crazy stuff could happen, and you can't be punished for being creative or something like that. I forget exactly what he said. But I was kind of like, well, we were talking about how I really enjoyed watching Wandering Warriors Cup seed 30 to 90, you know. So kind of Gold League territory because of how crazy the sets were, how you could see the nerves. And Dad was basically like, yeah, it's really cool to see that. Wide's eco is superior here. He comes in after being promoted in silver, was not expected to make it. Everyone thought Sorakuma would win that bracket, or maybe Gabby. Any big Gabby fans out there, you should know that Wide 3-0'd Gabby. And this castle from Wide allows him back onto water. He also did find a conversion here with his monk. Kind of interesting he made a monk from here, though. I'm not in love with that move. And the monk's not either, because he's dead. I would have said monks from the middle would have made sense to snag the relics there. Looks like there is a relic on Dracken's Islands. I think we maybe need to take a look at that. It's weird, because you don't really want monks here. I would like the relic generation to be adjusted a little bit. It's... I don't know. Maybe it's good that it's somewhat random. I don't think relics are going to decide games here. Anyways, I'll leave that whole thing for me to decide when we're not casting a series. So normally what happens is when you see this castle come up, the player tries to make navy. But this seems to be about another transport here from Wide. Another transport, and he's even adding scouts because I think he's expecting his opponent to have monks. So maybe just Wide confirming what type of player he is here. Brings in an elephant. Really needs to be focusing on farms, though. I think the position of which he unloads this transport is really important here. If he's too close to that castle, this could be really bad. And he'll see the castle, but he has time to back away. And all right, he'll loop this way. So I guess that's something. Maybe Wide intentionally added monks here so he could just convert the ships. Seems like that's a pretty good thing to do here. Dracken a little bit distracted by this army. And so he loses track of both those fire ships. Nice conversions. More docks from Dracken. He's on the way to Imp. Dracken wants to win this with water. Which is normally how the map goes. Man, the farming eco is insane from Wide. He's added so many farms. And this is a nice little bit of control, but I really don't think this is going to amount to much. If anything, I think it would have been more successful for him to bring 5 vills and start to drop some towers somewhere. Because he's Koreans after all. There's been an extreme lack of towers. There's also a lack of gold right now for Wide, who otherwise has the resources to click up. I'm sure he'll fix that. He lost his wagon to a conversion. The wagon gets converted back. Now the scouts will come in to snipe that monk. And will not get the monk. Raid was distracting, but not really that big of a deal at the end of the day. And Wide clicks up. And he also has the vills on gold now. So I like Wide's economic play. I also love how much harassment he's been able to dish out on a map where it's pretty tricky to do that. But this is going to be tricky against the Italians. Dracken knows what's up here. He's got lots of docks, and he already has the navy advantage. So to already have the navy advantage and then add more docks and commit further to water means this should be really tough for Wide. I actually think Wide doesn't know that Dracken's up, but if he knew that, he should probably dock the back. Because this area will be trebbed most likely. That's what Dracken wants. He wants to treb across the river. And if he can treb across this river, he can also take the docks, right? Koreans do get fast fire ships, so that's an option. And Dracken is actually going to go immediately into war galleys. So that kind of makes sense because he already has the fire galley lead, but he doesn't have a ton of fire galleys, and he obviously is just starting with war galleys. So I think fire ship numbers could be a real problem for him. Oh yeah, I'll change the overlay. Sorry, I didn't even think about how the top was not centered. Maybe I switched it accidentally, but oh wait a second. Okay, so transport from wide. And he's going to start to guard tower rush the starting area for Dracken. It's kind of wild, too, because Dracken's building a castle over here for further water dominance. But this will start to get real annoying for him. There's not a lot of value here except for farm space, I guess. It's not like there's stone and gold here to really be denied long term. But shipwright for Dracken. And that's a huge upgrade. It's also really expensive, but it's cheaper for the Italians. But Koreans do also get shipwright. So, yeah, Wide will go for the same research here. And he's not actually going for fast fires, by the way. It is just going to be galleons for him as well. Galleons, but he's producing from the front. Still no trebs for Dracken, which is surprising. But he has a lot to look at right now. Wide has really made Dracken work so far. Knight goes down. Dracken will get that one relic. Dracken already has a relic from the island. There's this relic as well to get to. This relic to get to. Shipwright will complete. Drakken's late with Bodkin. He's late with Galleon. I mean, he doesn't have the resource income that Wide does. Wide has the stronger economy here. But still only 3 docks from Wide is my concern. Whereas Drakken's got... I think he's got like 6 or 7 on the map, depending on where you're looking. Guard towers will continue to move along on this starting island for Dracken, which he's still creating villagers here. He hasn't deleted this TC or anything, which some players will do. And he even has to make a treb to deal with this, which is kind of wild. And I think it's a nice distraction. That's what that's accomplishing, is it's a distraction away from water, which is the main task for Dracken. And Mangonel actually could take out the Treb, potentially. Well, it takes out the Monk, at least. And Dracken lost track of his navy because he wasn't expecting this. He hasn't been Treb pushing the middle because he wasn't expecting this. He does have good Galleon numbers, but they're not in the position he needs to at the moment. And, okay, maybe Dracken puts an end to this. 3 more vills inside that tower will probably go down. Nice shot from Dracken in the end. Whoa, dude. Wide needs an evacuation situation over here. Holy crap. Also, Genoese crossbowmen were landed. So there has been a lot happening. That's a great play from Dracken. Smart from both of them to do this. And look at the docks from Dracken, dude. That's the difference. But what's funny is Wide just continues to transport. Wide has transported so much here. Usually it's like, okay, you stop transporting, you just fight for water. Not with Wide involved. And Dracken could start to lose his main base then. If you win water and vills get brought over and start to drop towers on you, you're not prepared. Your castle goes down. This could be rough. Like, you can tell Drakken's housed at the moment. He will have a lot of extra population still on this island that he can't really do a lot with. Well played from Wide here. I'd love to see Wide bring vills. Also, would have loved for him to wait till 4 trebs, but obviously, in this situation, I'm not going to be critical of someone trickle trebbing because there's a lot happening at once here. He will bring some vills. Meanwhile, Wide is transporting whatever he can over to the sides. Villagers almost died in their cruise ship there, but yeah. Wide needs to delete this TC, which he did. You don't want more vills on that island. And vills are now on the way from Wide. This might even be just for repairing trebs. Galleon number is massing for both right now. Dracken massing most of that in the north. So 2 relics for Dracken. You should give an advantage to him there. And now his Bombard Cannon comes out. And just nice patient play from Dracken. I think this is something that a player like Wide will learn. Against a player like Dracken, you can't just show up with 2 trebs. The whole do not trickle treb situation is because of players like Dracken knowing exactly how to hold and defend. And so that treb ends up surviving. Might go down and does go down. So both those trebs go down in the end. And man, what a game we're about to have. And now this will become full water. Now this will become full water. I'd like to actually see towers on the shoreline from wide to help out in the naval battle. And heated shot as well. Here we go. Upgrades are identical. Chips are cheaper for Koreans. Don't know how much cheaper they would be than the Italians and everything here, but remember, both have shipwright. This is going to be a long game. This is going to be a really long game. I think if Wide can still get to positions where he can transport some towers, it could be interesting. But I think he's going to be completely produced off the map because of Dracken's production. Dracken's got so many more docks. And the positioning of the docks are also very safe. They're not in the middle. They're on the back side of his base. Looking good for Dracken so far, at least with the numbers Capture Age is showing me. And he's dancing as well with the galleons, which you need to do in these battles. And Dracken just has way more. Dracken has way more than his opponent does right now. Dracken also transported some of those condos from the starting island over here, forcing some towers from Wide. Guys, Wide has 13 ships in queue, but he's producing out of 4 docks. He needs more docks right now. And actually, he might need to turn off auto farm, auto reseed, so we can get more wood. Notice the Dracken isn't farming as much. Dracken does have auto farm on for what it's worth, but he just doesn't have as many farms. But he also doesn't have as much food. He also isn't creating a trade cog, which Dracken is, by mistake. So that's something. Wide snipe the treb there from Dracken. There's the trade cog. And there's the additional docks now from Wide. Like, I actually like farming as much as Wide has because that food can give you more gold, which becomes important. So, like, it's not that big a deal, in my opinion. He could still add more docks and have this food income. But if this is going to be full Navy, you're going to really want to have a heavier combination of wood and gold for your resource income. Dracken, though, he has fewer villagers, so he has more pop space for all this Navy, which seems like that's what this game is going to turn into. As a Korean tower enjoyer, though, I am a little disappointed to not see the unique tech for Koreans and any towers along the shoreline. This little area in the middle is a perfect area for a couple towers to have been placed. We do have the castle on the backside, so that's more your traditional play. But when playing Koreans, can't help but feel like the tower would be great. Dracken up against a lot here. Advanced in, killed quite a few vills. That's not bad for Wide, though. Losing vills is good here because he needs the population space to compete. Guys, what a game. Who wins this game? I'm looking at... I'm trying to assess it. I mean, 2 relics for Dracken. It's about to be 3. I don't think relics play that big of a role here, though. I think being able to take all your stones and golds plays a role. Dracken can't take this gold right now. He can't take this gold right now. He definitely has less on gold. Yeah, he definitely has less on gold. This gold is still being taken. This gold is still being taken. This gold is still being taken. That's a big deal. And Wide will try and drop some towers. I'm not sure about that one. But I guess if he loses the vills, then he just gets more pop space for more galleons. Over here, this is a better fight for Dracken because half the ships are not attacking other ships here. Wide, you have to realize this. This is an amazing fight for Dracken. Wide was focused on his tower, which did not go up, by the way. But if the units he has in queue make it, he will have more Navy than Dracken does. And he's got way more gold than Dracken does. Like, the tower recognition just came a little too late. And honestly, there's not a lot of stone left on the map anymore. So, yeah, there's 25 stone. Dracken will try He'll be feeling pretty good about the situation after that. He's going to try and converge in on this Navy, but I don't think he's realizing just how much Navy his opponent's going to actually have. Now, there's leftover ships over here. There's a lot to gather up and pay attention to. Dracken has hussars, which he might just use as distractions for the ships. Might just run back and forth with the hussars. Yeah, this isn't a new thing. Like, this is actually kind of smart. It is wasted pop space if you're not doing anything else with it. Wide is holding here in the north, I think. Dracken doesn't have the numbers. Dracken does have this massive Navy patrolling here. Now, if Dracken can transport some hussars to this island, he would kill some farmers. That would be good. But he's just straight up using his hussars as a meat shield of some kind. Is that the play here for Dracken? Will this actually work for him? I don't hate it because he was behind in numbers and he needs some recovery. And now Drakken's down here. He's killing so many vills. He's taking Wide off the gold. And Wide can't get more reinforcements to the middle because he's completely cut off right now by Dracken. You can see all these ships that are popping out of the docks are getting picked off. This would be the time. If you have a transport ready, this would be the time to actually send hussars through. Also, new drinking game idea. Take a shot every time you hear a ding. I'm kidding. Don't do that. That would be... You'd be gone in like 2 minutes. Just looking purely at the queue right now, I think that Wide can still do this. But he doesn't have the proper control over the game and the momentum at the moment. And Dracken has it. Drakken's queued up transports. Dracken loses his ships to the castle. It's a bit of a painful loss, especially losing the cannon galleon. And Wide is hoping to group up around the north as well. But this position is so valuable right now. This position right here and this position right here. Dracken has made it impossible for Wide to group up his ships as he wants. And the hussars on Pacific Islands are definitely working. This is smart. I think Dracken senses this is an opportunity for him. Has his trebs ready to go after this castle. Has his cannon galleons ready to go after this castle. And this might be Drakken's game. He'll probably lose his trebs. He'll obviously lose his hussars. But the ships are just completely trapped here for Wide. And what Wide can't do is he can't get to these cannon galleons on the other side. Perfect play from... Well, I mean, far from perfect from either. It's been a crazy game, but the last 5 minutes has been so good from Dracken to control this one. Now the hussars come in to raid. It's pretty wild, too, because the Navy might still be superior for Wide. He finally is getting his numbers up. But now his eco can be completely raided by hussars. And I guess Dracken could run out of gold. We could have a weird stalemate-y situation. Because Wide still has lots of resources. Wow, Drakken's even running out of wood. Well, hold on. Let's see how this goes, actually. A lot of the resources for Wide are still remaining over here, and they're protected by Navy. And Dracken doesn't have the resources Wide does. And Drakken's... Well, I mean, if he loses the middle at water region, he also will have some big problems. The raid obviously killed a lot, but Wide can replenish those villagers. If Wide can make his own cannon galleons, he could also completely win this game from water. We'll see. Dracken might try the hussar technique again. Noticing Wide does have population issues right now. But Wide has so many galleons at the moment. Dracken only 50. Wide has 70. New TCs for Wide to stay alive. I really hope he fights here. That raid would make a lot of people tap out. But his situation's actually way better than he thinks. The issue is he can't stop these transports unless he advances forward here. And this castle's been super annoying. Now Drakken's down here. I think Dracken is losing this area. because there's more galleons stacked for Wide. And Wide is all of his TCs still producing Vils. And he has a couple halbs around as well. Wow, they're both actually in horrible positions. Look at Dracken trying to take wood on the outside now, Pacific Islands. You never see that. Ooh, and actually Wide has to back away, which is a really big deal. Dracken held on. The castle has killed 11 ships. Maybe it is better for Dracken. Such a close game. 4 relics for Dracken. Wood on the outside for Dracken. None of this is the case for Wide. And Drakken's galleon count is pretty much the same now. It's crazy that this has gotten to this point where the wood on the outside matters. Smart from Dracken, though. Why didn't... He didn't really get pushed to that yet, but it'll happen for him as well. There's still 5,000 gold on the map. There's still this gold, and there's still this gold that needs to be taken. I think there's a little bit of gold elsewhere. But, like, okay, so this castle here, guys. This castle has proved how important it is to have some control on the shoreline. And I know Wide had castle before, but how good would it have been for him if instead of that, as he advances through, he's advancing through, so the hussars aren't a factor. He actually positioned his units perfectly here, so they're not attacking the hussars at all. Hold on. But yeah, I was just thinking, how good would it be to have towers in this choke? Every time I see Koreans play, we typically have the towers here. Wide's also focus firing the galleons instead of patrolling now. Oh my god, Dracken made 3 more trade cogs. So that's a waste of wood and gold. I don't know what... So Dracken, a unique thing about him is he actually clicks stuff in his docks. He doesn't even use hotkeys for a lot of stuff. He also clicks units to produce. He'll hold shift and click when producing, like, crossbows, for example. Which is very rare that someone so high level doesn't just use hotkeys for stuff. So I wonder if maybe he's just misclicking because of that. He obviously could misclick the hotkey as well. But, like, I don't even know what my trade cog hotkey is, for example, because I've removed it. If we get to the point where I'm making trade cogs on water, I think something has gone wrong. It's funny, the tower goes up. That's what we wanted to see. But now the tower will just go down. But guys, what a game here! What a game! The thing about Drakken's wouldn't come on the outside is that if that gets found, they're obviously dead. There's nowhere to run. He does still have wood here, but he doesn't actually have many Vils anymore. Look at Wide's Vil production. Wide is 40 Vils in queue. Dracken has 0 Vils in queue, and he only has 100 food, because I guess he's also making hussars. Wide can take this gold again. Wide still has so many ships. We have yet to see a cannon galleon from him, but at a certain point here, he may do that. You only need, like, 4. 4 cannon galleons and 80 galleons. That's more than enough. You need to... Cannon galleons are not meant to destroy anything fast. It's all about slow control, and your cannon galleons can become a liability if you don't have the army to protect it. This is wild that we're seeing Hussar v ship here. But I think this engagement is still better for Wide. He still has more. A monk is even going to come in from Dracken randomly to get a conversion, it seems. Wide has more navy following through. Now, again, where are the cannon galleons for those castles? That could be important. Can he maybe consider buying stone to drop another tower? It seems like every time he's dropped the tower, it's been painful. I think it's worth it. I think Drakken's going to lose this game. Next generation, new generation player. He's like 20, 21 years old. Trains a lot with Winchester. Wide was not expected to even make it through silver. Other people would have said Sorokuma. He makes it through silver, beating Sorokuma 3-2. And now he's up against Dracken, who was one of the platinum players previous season, who got relegated down. And I think Wide is going to take the first game. $20 in the pocket, but then a win against a big player, and this is awesome, man. This is sick. I don't know his exact age, but like I said, I think he's 20 or 21. I don't think Dracken has the Navy to compete anymore. he's going to lose his vills. And it's not like he doesn't have some type of advantage here. He's got cheaper dock techs. Like, shipwright was so much cheaper for him. His superior hussars, if that actually becomes good play. But I don't know if spamming hussars to their deaths on the shoreline can save Dracken here. He's hoping it will. But Wide has so much economy. I guess this could just turn into a situation where Wide doesn't have... He doesn't have resources to take anymore. Which, honestly, could happen really soon. He's chopping all these trees. The thing I want to see Wide do right now, because they're both dancing, I want to see him just sit next to the galleons from Dracken like he did before. He's got so many of them. If he could just gather them up and just sit on the other shoreline, I think it's way better for him. I'm waiting for him to do that. Dracken's still hanging in here. And Wide is worried. Wide is concerned. The hussars from Dracken are really giving him a chance here. Again, but earlier in the game, when he had more ships, he just sailed up to the galleons and sat on the other side. I think playing this dancing game is actually giving Dracken an opportunity here. Wide should never lose this game from here. Yeah, he shifted his thinking here. He just focus fires now. He's focus firing, and then he get beyond the ships. Oof, man, I don't know. Dracken still has wood on the outside. If there's a point where Wide does not have that wood anymore, this could become a factor. Hold on, Dracken's holding on. I can't believe it! The hussars are actually working! Dracken has been back on this gold, by the way, which has certainly helped. Holy crap. Will Wide even know there's wood back there? I mean, I guess you see it. What a game. Relics are mattering now. Where's the 5th relic, by the way? I don't even know where the 5th relic is. I still think Wide should win this game. I think if he can gather up his navy, with the navy count that he has, he's got big groups everywhere. He should win this game. He's got so much more navy. The 5th relic was in Wide's monastery. Oh my god! He's sitting there holding the relic. No wonder I can't see it. He's just holding it. Yikes. Laziest monk ever. Okay, so hold on. Wide is regrouping. Wide is coming back down. And he has another force from here on water. Dracken's still spamming those hussars. And that, I mean, that has worked so freaking well, dude. Another thing, Wide doesn't know that Dracken's 130 pop. All he knows is that Dracken has the score lead, and Dracken probably has the freaking relics. I think these vills are headed into transports to take the wood on the outside now. How much wood is left? 50,000 wood left. Ooh, okay. This is interesting. So we have a galleon raid. Wide's not attacking. He will now, though. There's not actually a lot of trees left there, so raiding the wood line isn't the best spot. But still killing vills is never going to hurt. And I keep looking at the galleon count, thinking that that's what this is going to turn into, but I also keep looking at the relic count. I will say that Wide, until he gets a couple lumber camps up, might not be able to queue more ships for a while here. Also, this is where you take all the deer you can, you take the shorefish, you do everything you can. Galleons are still just running around here for Wide. Just feels a little wasteful for me. It would be better for him to engage and just take galleons with him than to run around like this. But credit to Dracken for keeping good track of it. Dracken is tracking. Ha! Definitely going to make that joke more than once this season. So 50 galleons for Dracken. It is 74 for Wide. But this trip was just... it was just a painful trip around the planet. Dracken should be able to afford more galleons from here because he's the only player with relics and he has plenty of wood. He's selling food to get some gold every now and then. But this is going to be this weird spot. See, this is what I wanted to see before. You're just getting close. Like, don't even pay attention to the hussars. Just chase and get to the other side of them. Yeah, Dracken's losing a lot of his ships now, and he is in need of recovery. Wide does have trees here, and he's got wood here. So he has more wood, actually. But Dracken has banked more wood. What a game. Who wins this game, guys? I think I'm going to go with Dracken now because the numbers are pretty close. But he needs to avoid taking engagements until his numbers are up. I think this was Wide's game to win or Wide's game to lose in that moment where I was saying I wanted him to dive closer to the galleons. I think he had it there. So here, like he showed us before, you go to the north of it and just sit there, and then the hussars don't actually add any value. But maybe he feels he's too far away from his reinforcements then. This is a crazy game. The hussar thing is actually tilting me. It's a really good play from Dracken. It's actually so annoying. I like the amount of times it's played a role. Wah! What are we doing, bro? Wide! Wide! You have more ships! Yikes. Now he runs into the castle fire. Remember, he's not... He doesn't typically... This is a big moment for him, right? Like, this isn't normal for him to be in this situation. Him qualifying to gold was a big deal. So the pressure is truly on for him. It's such a messy situation, but Dracken's been given some good opportunities, and Dracken, is he even transporting hussars? He's transported hussars to deal with the galleons there. That's hilarious. Okay. Don't know why I'm surprised. Well, he'll kill one. Wide comes back now. Is very weak ships because of what just took place. And the hussars are actually killing one of the galleons, which is super worth it. I wish I had a stat on how many ships died to hussars. More than Wide will be happy with. Dracken's going to win this game. Oh, man. It was like 80 galleons versus 40. 80 galleons versus 40. And Wide had wood and Wide had gold. He had a 60 population lead. But he let it slip away. Dracken's hussars and Dracken's relics and Dracken's outer wood control and his consistency in production and how crazy he made it. Actually going to give him this game. There's nothing I can look at now that makes me think that Wide actually has a chance. At least before, he had the numbers, he had the population, but he loses that. And Dracken has got to be wiping the sweat off of his brow right now. Probably can't believe it. He gets the win. That was nerve-wracking for Dracken. And that just purely comes down to experience, in my opinion. Wide will watch this, and he will be annoyed with himself, and then he will have to learn from it, right? Because I think... okay, so it wasn't this situation. This is where I'm thinking this is where Dracken's going to win, right? But then Wide's resources were unbelievable. And then right about... I think it was like this stage of the game is where I'm thinking Wide can actually win. Wide's got 4K gold. Wide has 20 more ships. There was an instance in the north as well. I don't know when it was. There's so many freaking ships in this battle. Yeah, like right here, dude. 69 galleons versus 40. And he's got 1,200 gold in the bank and all this wood. This is where I think you actually could just get close to the galleons and win the fight. But the hussars were such a factor, and he just kept hitting and running, hitting and running. Even here, 70 population lead. 76 galleons versus 40. You just bring everything. You dive. You take this right now, and you don't sit on the shoreline. You win the game. This is game over. This is pretty much checkmate, at least on paper. But that's not how the game works, right? And Dracken Dracken did an amazing job holding on there, snagged the relics super early, and had more res collected long term. But the fights were not good for Dracken on water for a while there. So the hussars did exactly what they were there to do. They were there to distract. They were there to delay. And I think they were stronger in Wide's mind than they were actually in the game. And Dracken takes game number 1. And here we are, game number 2. So again, the way this works is game number 1 is a neutral map after a series of bans. So both players kind of have their say in what game 1 is. It was a very close game. And now we have Mongols for Wide on Rocky Forest. Mongols was one of his top picks. And on Rocky Forest, there's a lot of hunt in the middle. There's also a lot of stone and gold in the middle. And then you don't actually have any deer available to you at your base. You would have to go to the middle for that. So Dracken over here, Drakken's playing as the Magyars. And he knows that. So he actually has just run to the middle real quick to push in his deer. So he'll get a deer or two from the middle most likely, and then there will be lots of fighting through the middle. You can't wall on the rocks, which also means your lumber camps are pretty inefficient. So Civ like Armenians and Georgians actually is really strong here because you can use a mule cart and walk over the rocks. I think at least Georgians was banned, though. So Georgians wasn't an option. So all the lumber camps are always inefficient until you chop enough trees to make an efficient one. But yeah, this is a big moment for Wide. Obviously, his home map, Mongols on a map with a lot of hunts. And Wide is an Arabia player. He's a player who plays a lot of the open maps, so definitely the map that he would look to get a win. What you need to avoid in Titans League, regardless of your group, is you need to avoid getting swept. You can lose, and that's fine, but you always need to get at least 1 win. And I think if you always get 1 win, what is that? That's 5 rounds of 1 win minimum, you get 5 points. We've seen people with 5 points almost survive before, so. The scouts engage here, 9 HP for both. And that actually means, that would normally mean that you could justify walling a little bit more because the scouts are weaker now. But you can't really wall this map, so never mind on that. I don't remember what the lowest win count was to survive. I think it might have been 6. Maybe it was even 5, where we had like 2 players at 1 and 2 wins, depending in a really lopsided group. I don't remember. There's been three seasons. I remember a lot of stuff, but I don't remember that specific, so maybe someone could look for that. Well, chat, first game was crazy. Hello, everybody. I wasn't really looking at chat that whole time. Sorry. I was looking at the galleons and the hussars. This might be a really short stream for me today because this is the only series happening right now. There is another series in 2 hours. So I doubt these next 2 games are going to take 2 hours. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated. May or may not be back online for that one later on. But yeah, Titans League Gold in full force. You guys can use the TTL command to look at the groups. Also made a video discussing the groups a little bit. Doing some predictions and how I thought things might go. Here comes Wide to the middle for the hunt. Skull Candy says we want to watch you play. No, I'm going to try and go to the gym after this series and before the next series. That's my plan, but now at this point, it doesn't feel like I actually have the time for that. So we'll see. I won't be playing too much. So, as expected, the Mongol player's up a little bit faster here. And Dracken probably won't be too surprised to see the vills in the middle. I expect Wide to use these villagers to do everything. Build the barracks, build the stable, and then stay on hunt long term. This is going to be all about the early initiative for him. But his vills will be more exposed. Whereas Dracken will opt mainly for farms. He saved all of his sheep as well. Pushing in these deer has been a nice touch for him. So he doesn't have to take the risk to go to the middle. The wood line is really close to all the action, so I don't think he'll love that. I think it would have been better to build the lumber camp over here or something, but apparently Yaks and Target both survived with 5 and 10 seasons. Okay, cool. Thank you, Squidjet. Yeah, so it is possible. Thank you, Swiss Kiwi, for the 42. Hello. Ice Dragon Master, what's up? Says, been having a rough few weeks. Glad that I at least have you in your content, T90. Yo, what's up, man? Thank you. Hope things improve a bit for you. Gaminac, thank you. J-Mel, what's up? Falling Star official, welcome. Shadowflower. Hello, Cruelers. Hello, Bolax. Hello, Mustard. Wide is up a bit faster, but his scout is weak from the earlier scout conflicts. That will be the same for Dracken, but Dracken's scout gets forging. But funnily enough, that doesn't actually change the fight. It's still 2 hits for both the kill on a 9 HP scout. And Wide will open with a range. Dracken will see that. And then Dracken will open with a stable. Wide will see that. But yeah, that lumber camp is kind of the target, if you ask me. I think Wide's going to aim to make this as messy as possible. But this might be really messy for himself as well. Like, I frequently, when I'm really focused on aggression, going for trash rush, I always get housed. And that's why I looked back home. He's definitely doing the same thing. Nice to know this happens to you as well. He's housed because he's double producing right away off a fast uptime, and he just didn't think of it. So he's actually down a villager now because of that. Imagine you lost that first game. This is still not a situation you're totally comfortable in. You're new to this group. And so you're just going to be hyper fixated on aggression. And, ooh, hold on. Things get interesting here because Dracken builds a tower expecting this. And what could happen is Wide could actually build the tower behind the woodline. But I don't know. Like, the Vills aren't on hunt right now. They're just walking around. And Dracken might try a counterattack here. Because he should know that there's no way for these villagers to be walled in at home. For Wide. So things get pretty interesting now with these scouts roaming around. Wide has to send more spears out. And he also sending his army into Dracken's base now. To disrupt him where he can. But Dracken still has some sheep. He could actually move off the berries. And now the Magyar scouts are here. And the spear's out of position. Dracken's scout micro not as good as it could have been, though. Probably just because he was reacting to this, right? That was also well played from Wide to fight that off. And wait for the spear. Bills are still on hunt in the middle. Dracken just switches solely to farms. He does have Horse Collar. And Dracken's tower was really smart here. It definitely has made Wide's opening more difficult to utilize. And now you're just seeing the Mongol player with leftover trash. Typically, you want the Mongols on scouts or archers. But Dracken's making a lot of scouts here. So for the time being, having the spears around is good to keep your eco alive. There will be 2 spears at home now. And the eco is looking much better for Wide. You can tell he's more into the groove now. Got housed a couple times. But he's more into the flow of things. Dracken will see that 1 spear. Immediately snipe it with the Magyar scouts. More spears will be needed then. There's some weak vills in there. And skirm production behind this from Dracken. I said at the start of the series, like, you don't normally think of Dracken as a good player on these maps just because you know he likes Arena and such, but he's actually very good. And he plays Arabia these days. He's not banning Arabia like he used to in the past. He will play it on ladder, which is nice experience. And Dracken also has years and years and years of tournament experience where he plays these settings too, so I think in a second, once one of these trees is chopped, you could actually build a lumber camp directly on the trees if you're Wide. And Wide sees those scouts. And Wide will now use the hunt villagers to drop a tower behind that wood line. Dracken might be looking for those vills in the middle soon, but they're not there anymore. And Wide correctly just walls in those vills on gold. That's smart. I like that. Because you don't want another area to have to protect. Dracken hasn't really been that active with his scouts. He sees the tower, though. That's a great tower from Wide. And now Dracken will have to build another lumber camp, but it will be an inefficient lumber camp, right? Because of the... He has to start from 0 with that. He could counterattack, though. A counterattack here would be epic. If he has skirms for the spears All the scouts could group up for Dracken. Oh, I could see this ending very, very badly for Wide. Dracken will leave his wood. But look at how many scouts he has patrolling around. And those 3 skirms are so critical to kill the spears. But they might not make it there. Honestly, though, 2 spears will die to these scouts anyways. But Wide is going to come home. Oh, man, this is still a disaster against Magyars. He'll lose so much. He should lose so much. Dracken kills 1. And again, it could have been worse for Wide. Maybe Dracken scout control just not quite there. But I still like the consistency he has in the game. He's not getting population capped like Wide continues to be. Wide is clearly nervous. Overqueuing vills. These 4 villagers on hunt, I know you're Mongols, but I don't think it's actually been as smooth as Dracken's situation. Dracken's farms are more than fine. His villagers are also safe. His base is pretty structured. What's an issue for Dracken is that he needs a way to keep his villagers alive from this army coming to his base right now. There are 12 spears on the map from Wide, so he'll have some in defense. The ones in defense will shred Dracken scouts, and now Dracken has no wood. Dracken just has no army here. I think losing his skirms was painful. And here he could lose another vill. So he loses 2 vills. And where is Dracken supposed to go for wood, guys? This wood is towered. This wood line's now camped by spears, skirms, and archers. He can afford another lumber camp. But really well played from Wide. The strategy finally pays off. And these farms will be idled as well. Drakken's not really able to pay attention to that. One thing Dracken could do is kill the hunt villagers. But I don't think he knows they're there. Drakken's just full focused on defense right now. You don't know this as a player, but like if Wide just keeps moving around, he wins this game. If he just camps the farms, it's still good. But I think if he just moves here, boom, takes him off gold, boom, takes him off wood. Like, what he doesn't want to do is he doesn't want to go too far and then get his units cut off from each other. Which makes sense. Dracken was going to go Castle Age. And then Drakken's like, I will die if I do that, so I need more army now. So he'll get bloodlines on his scouts. But 14 skirmishers, 15 spearmen from Wide with Mongols. Crazy. See how confident he is to move in here. Because when you're on the way to Castle Age as well, you might feel like you might just want to hold. Stabilize where you can. Big fight is brewing, guys. This will happen soon. Wide. If he gets pikemen, elite skirm, it's tough to afford all that right away. But if he can upgrade these units, Dracken is completely dead. Dracken needs to kill these units before Castle Age. Castle Age is a minute away here. I think it's going to be tough. I think with Wide's micro, knowing what Wide can do, I think it's going to be tough. Wide will not give him a full fight here. Wide can use his own skirms against the skirms from the opponent, and then the spears could be there as well. Unless he separates himself from everything. Yeah, he almost walked a little too far. You can't have the spears and skirms separated. That would be a disaster. And oh man, he's really happy with this. He delays the market, which is always great to delay when you know someone's rattled. Because they need that market to stabilize. And Dracken just still can't find the fight, guys. Wide. He's well on his way to getting the win if he can keep this up. Should have probably won the first game. Castle Age comes in, so Dracken will fight. I don't think Dracken has the army for it. Dracken was going to lose this anyways. And with Castle Age in, Wide could do a number of things. He was dropping stables to make Knights or Lancers. And newly promoted to Titans League Platinum, or sorry, Titans League Gold. Wide ends up getting his victory. So it's been a close game so far. I wouldn't even say this one was necessarily a stomp. I think if Dracken made more skirmishers in the mid-game of Feudal Age, I think this would have arguably been a better position for him. I think he got completely taken off guard by the Trash Rush follow-up there from Wide. And what he followed it up with was obviously more trash. The first game could have gone to wide as well. We could be looking at a 2-0 right now. But remember, guys, just overall, regardless, Titans League is play all threes until playoffs. So even if it was 0-2 or 2-0, we would still see the third game. Sick stuff. Okay. And it should be Dracken's map now. So I think we'll go to an arena-style map. Look at the draft. It's probably not Zhong, which is one of the maps. It is Fortified Clearing. Got it. All right, baby. Let's go. We got some Fortified Clearing action. And this is the version of Fortified Clearing, which is absolutely fantastic. You've got the no walls on the back. Walls on the front, though. Lots of stone, gold, relics towards the middle. And players will have to decide on how they choose to play this. Now, this is Drakken's home map. This is the map that you would expect Dracken to do very well on. This is also his first Civ pick. So he was prepped for this, and he picked the melee. Also, this is a small thing, but during the draft, he didn't even hesitate. It was like, bam, melee. Like, it's not like he sat there and thought about it the full 30 seconds. So that adds something. Wide has gone for the Cumans. He also had Portuguese. He also had Turks. So gunpowder civs could be great here, but he instead chooses to go for Cumans, which I don't know if it will work, but I actually really like, because I think you need something that's extreme against Dracken if Drakken's the more experienced player on these maps. And he's bringing in his boar really early here, which isn't necessarily the craziest thing, but is notable. Everything should be fine. Takes his boar. But yeah, the expectation for wide is fast feudal into a second TC. Now, I wonder if wide will consider going to TC out here. This actually seems like a really good TC spot. Normally, players are going to TC their wood lines inside of their base, but one of the best ways to pressure Cumans is siege push or castle drop. And if you have all of your eco in the same spot, that's a bad thing then, right? So I actually think the TC on the outside would be sick. You can still take wood, you can still take gold, and then it's far away from any pressure. I'm wondering how Dracken will play this. Because what Dracken might not want to do is apply pressure. Maybe because he's melee, he's tested this out in arena, and he thinks that he's more than fine to just go for a boom. Could still be a fast castle, could maybe be a fast feudal hybrid approach, which the melee tend to do. Not in love with Drakken's build order so far, if this is a fast feudal. He's building a lot of houses. This makes me think he's going fast castle, so. The fast feudal boom with melee is probably a bit better for arena than it is for fortified clearing, but I don't know if there's any major differences at the end of the day. So there's 9 relics on the map. Usually you have 2 relics on either side on the outside, but occasionally, because map scripting is hard, you'll have that be a bit different. So we actually have just 1 relic in the north, and then we have 1, 2, 3... Are we just straight up... Oh, yeah, there's 3 here. I can't do math. Sorry. So there's 3 in the south, there's 1 in the north, and then there should be 5 in the middle, which there is. So obviously a lot of incentive to push to the middle. It's a bit easier to get the relics, but then you're open on the outside. It is wallable on the outside, though. You can wall to the edge of the map if you want to, but you have to pay for it. You have to work for it. So, still looks like a fast castle for Dracken. He's gone up to 30 population space with houses, so he won't need a house anytime soon. And then wide, if he's doing this correctly, should be clicking up now. And he does click up. So 3 seconds of idle TC time, not perfect, but obviously far from weak. And he's sending a scout around the outside. Does Dracken see his boar? Okay, he does. Just really late. Almost so late it seems like he forgot it. Like, he's also building another house? 35 pop space in the Dark Age is crazy. It's not like a massive deal, but it's notable. I like this. He will wall a little bit. He won't go for the full walls. You definitely can't be going full wall if the human player is on the way to feudal age and bringing their scout over to your base. And there's the boar from Dracken. Okay. Where will Y drop this TC? I want to see it go here. I don't mind back here if you just want a safe food and wood boom, but My concern would be, what if you get pushed off of this gold? Having the TC on the outside would maybe give you a better option there. It also means you have to run much further, and you pretty much need 7 vills to build the TC if you're doing this optimally. So I think for that reason, he doesn't want... Yeah, he doesn't want the villagers off wood. And he just goes for it here. Okay. What do you think is best? Why do you think fast feudal is better on arena than here? Because to get the most of the fast feudal builds, you really want your villagers working. Because when you go fast feudal, you have less vills, right? But if you need 2 to 3 villagers walling and doing all of this, you have to go for the walls to, you know, so you don't get frustrated or annoyed or surprised. And you're going 3 villagers walling on 20 or 21 vills, right? So it's just more inefficient. Whereas the fast castle, you have more vills working. So obviously you delay the upgrades, but forget upgrades. It's all about workers, really. And so the additional vills means that a lesser percentage of your eco is walling and doing the other things. So that's why I think it's slightly better. But again, I don't know if there's any massive difference, really. What I could tell you right now is if Dracken's going fast castle, we might see... Well, we almost have to see, like, Pikeman Siege, Elephant Siege, some type of all-in play. I would be shocked if it's not that. Yes, the Malay have good economy, and yes, the Malay could possibly go for 3 town centers and castle, but then the Cumans will have full map control. And then the Cumans... with full map control, can raid with light cav. They can do a lot of things, and it just becomes really difficult to play in the defensive then. If I know Dracken, he's probably going to plan around building his barracks after his blacksmith market. He will bring spears and villagers to the middle and go for siege. That would be my guess anyways. Let's see. There's his market. There's his blacksmith. There's no need to have the barracks now, right? So it makes sense that he doesn't have that prepared yet. He queues a Vild. He queues Loom, which indicates he'll definitely go to the middle. And now Wide needs to think about what the possibilities are. And so you're in such a weird position now because you really want all your wood to go to farms because you're being greedy with the eco. But actually, the big brain play right now would be to try and get archers on the field. Like, just 2 archers with your scout could stop the forward and really disrupt Dracken. It'd be so good. But it's so tough to get that right. Because that's expensive. You need the golden com, which he's doing now. See, I definitely think he's thinking about it. The alternative could be he's just going to go gold to go up to Castle Age, so. He hasn't seen anything from Dracken yet. And Dracken has wisely positioned the barracks here. But yeah, Dracken knows what's up. This is the best play as the Malay against this play. The best play against the Malay against this play. Okay, well, I said the same word twice, but still, there's a bit of rhyming there. Now he sees the Spearman. He could bring Vills. I've seen people bring, like, 4 Vills to come try and stop the Siege Workshop from going up. But, I don't know. He hasn't really seen the Vills yet. Now he sees the Vills. And what do you even do? Here's the market. I think Wide is in big trouble here. I think he's in big trouble here. This is going to be super tough to stay alive against Dracken. This is a fast push. TCs need to idle now. You already have the villager lead. Save as much food as possible. His gold is safe on the outside, so that's good. He can lose this main gold and still be okay. Double Siege Workshop for Dracken. Guys, he's going to be through this gate so fast. And then he'll have mangonels. I like the Ram edition. A lot of people won't do it. I think against the Cumans, you know they'll be in feudal age. It takes down that gate or that piece of stone wall so much faster. Also, I've kind of changed my tune. with tower rushing and things, you used to say, well, take down the stone wall faster because you take down the stone wall because it's weaker. But the gate is a wider area. I actually think focusing on the gate, even though it takes slightly longer, is really smart here. Wide has wisely clicked Castle Age in the TC on the back. He is also dropping his own Siege Workshop now, but he can't make mangonels until he's in Castle Age. So this is going to be eventual mangonel defense from Wide into a defensive castle. That's the plan. But like, mangonel defense and you're still 90 seconds away from your first mangonel. Like, this is just horrible. And it's perfect play from Dracken, by the way. This is absolutely perfect. Like, I don't know if I've seen a better way to punish the humans on Fortified clearing before. This is so fast. This is a good build from Wide. But he's done all the small things. He has the Siege Workshop before he makes it to Castle Age, which a lot of players forget. He's going to sink so much of his wood into simply repairing his TCs. He really won't be able to have the wood for mangonels here. But he has to keep this TC alive. Has to. And he actually sold his stone to buy wood because of that situation. Okay, there's his mangonel. If he can defend from this, I will be extremely impressed. Scout runs through. Scout will die. Dracken has 5 mangonels eating the TC. I would actually like to see him ram down the market. The market is really useful here. He might do that. And mangonels pop for Wide. If he loses this mangonel, he's probably dead. This mangonel is his savior. Is his hero. Oh, okay. He gets one. Okay. This is extreme micro battle. Okay, well. He loses the extreme micro battle. But I think all of us would. And he will drop a castle. Okay. Well. He will get a castle up. He'll also lose a couple vills here in the process. He'll also lose his TC. His whole economy is building the castle. He can't even fit vills around it. And Dracken loses 1 mangonel. But he sees it now. Well, I think Drakken's just like, okay, well, now his eco's probably trash. Now we could maybe get the relics. Now we could maybe drop some TCs. And now we can just play a normal type of game. That's probably the approach here. I actually really like that Dracken didn't continue to try and push past the Siege Workshop because his units were stacking up. And 1 mangonel hit could be a problem. His goal is going to be... Dude, this is still like a crazy choke. Bro, that's stressing me out, Dracken. Move away from here. Bro! Oh my god. Do you see that? I mean, there's no mangonel, but if there was, that would have been insane. There's certain things I just can't look at without losing my mind. He deleted his own house. I like this, though. Just house the opponent. Nice job from Wide to stay alive. He has the Vill lead. He is making kip checks. But this is tough for him. I think Drakken's trying to make way to this side. Maybe expecting the TC to be there. And he would be correct. But does he see that? Okay, he loses 1. And he kills 1. Yeah, Wide needed better trades here, unfortunately. Kip checks, no bloodlines, only fletching, and he gets the kill. Nice play. See, Drakken's also adding farms now. He's booming on 3 TC, so he's semi-distracted by that. Every game counts here, guys. $20 per win. Everybody, you play everyone in the group and a play all 3 to determine where you go from there. For Wide, thankfully, he had the gold on the outside. That ended up being very smart. Big shot, maybe. 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 Ooh, okay. Dracken kind of hurt himself with these houses. This could get kind of awkward for Dracken if he starts to lose these mangonels. Nice micro from wide. That's sick micro from wide. Wow, hold on. We have a game here, maybe. 2 TCs, 55 Vils. Dracken? Oh my god! Dude, Drakken's getting destroyed in the Mangonel War now. Again, Wide gets a kill. What? And again! What? What in the world? And then Wide kills his own Kip checks. This is the most Gold League clip ever. I love you guys so much. But as I've been saying, Gold League's incredible, but they will make mistakes. Clip that, please. That was hilarious. Dracken just died to the... Just lost Mangonels to the guy that killed his own Kip checks. Mangonel is 9 kills, though. That's pretty sick. I didn't even know until this moment that Capture Rage had a friendly fire option on the kills total. That's hilarious. Well, third TC from wide. I don't actually love the position. I would have preferred it on the outside, just in case Dracken gets his siege back up. But resources collected is close here, guys. It's crazy to me. I think Wide should have won the first game. This should be 2-0 Wide right now, and then he could potentially go for a sweep against Dracken. Crazy, right? He's played really well. He's a really good player. And his micro is insane. With a player like this, you're just wondering, is the strategy going to be there? And I believe he's making petards. Oh, no, he canceled a petard. Okay. I like the micro. Dracken is attempting to get relics on the outside. And the north Wide is outposting. Dracken will almost lose a monk there. Very weak monk that will just get healed up. And now Dracken is planning for some more map control. Would really like to see Bloodlines come in for these Kip checks. They're super weak right now. And, like, Bloodlines and Bodkin would help a lot. But Wide has all the confidence in the world with his micro. So he might not shy away from engaging even without that. And now he drops TC number 4. Wow, I am impressed. I am really impressed with his recovery. This is exciting stuff, man. To see a player like this, first time in Gold League, be able to play so well against a player so experienced. Like, look at this micro. That will be a dead Mangonel, most likely. The micro continues to be really nice on this side as well to save that. And you feel this as well. If you're Dracken, you're like, what in the world? This is definitely something that's very clear when you're playing in game. I think Dracken wants to go imp. He's dropping the ranges. He'll mix in some skirms. I like that. Siege skirm should be great. Combined with a couple monks. And Dracken will drop the houses behind. He's done a great job not getting housed today. And he will aim to drop a castle on the front before he has elite skirm. Oh, boy. This could be interesting. Who will win the first group of Titans League Gold Season 4? Will it be Dracken, who is in Platinum last season? Or will it be Wide, who is just newly promoted to Gold for the first time? Great micro there from both. The monks are exposed. Nice micro from Dracken. He just needed a little bit of time. And that's well played from him. His castle will go up. But finally, after some miss micros, or just getting out microed at least, Dracken gets it an important moment. And that's nice because he really needs this gold. And now there's no threat that this pushes him. If anything, Wide's going to be a little confused on where to go now. He might want to go to the outside. Where, by the way, Wide has some monks. He's walked past some relics, so he could snag those if he thinks about it. And now Imp is on the way for Dracken. Crazy. So even though he didn't continue to kill his opponent, in the end, the boom approach, still more than enough. At least for now, anyways. I know it's a lot of control for Wide. I know it's a lot of eco for Wide. But he's not anywhere close to clicking up to Imp. And Imperial upgrades on skirms. Even Imperial upgrades on archers. If he goes Arbalest, even crossbow with bracer and chemistry could be really tough for these Kip checks. Looks like the relics are coming home there for Wide. Like to see he hasn't forgot about that with everything else. He's really well-rounded. Tech Dogs, all sets from Titans League will go to the T90 Extras YouTube channel. So yeah, every set I cast will go to Extras. Shout out to those watching on Extras later on. It's quite a few kip checks in the middle. Wide still hasn't clicked up. Wide will definitely need to do that. And Dracken is just being patient right now. The next 3 minutes are key. Bracer is such a big upgrade. Extra range and attack is going to do so much here. And I don't even think he needs the Arbalest upgrade. Just crossbows and skirms can take out the siege so much easier with these upgrades. And then chemistry too. I think Wide will need to switch out of ranged units most likely. Nice micro there from both. Nice split micro from Dracken again. That's the difference that Bracer can make. Especially helps when the kip checks are super weak as well at this stage. And Wide needs to drop... Wow, he's dropping ranges. Normally the play with humans here is to drop stables. And wow, actually, he didn't have a blacksmith until now. Obviously, he had one earlier, but I remember his blacksmith got rammed down. I didn't realize he didn't actually have one. So it feels like his plan is to go Elite Skirm as well. I don't love that, because then you're just playing against a Civ that has Bombard Cannon when you don't, and a Civ that has Bracer when you don't. But you are up against a lot of ranged units, so I guess it does feel natural to go for Skirms here. Wide is defending with what he can. But this is extremely difficult. Drakken's production is flying now. This is what I said earlier about Dracken. I said it on the... Whoa! What just happened there? My mouse bugged out. That was terrifying. I'm so sorry. That scared me. I don't know why. We just randomly zoomed. Holy. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, Dracken. His production's nuts. He will go for so many production buildings and queue up units at the proper times. And we saw that with the Pacific Islands game with the docks. And look at the control that he's gained here in the Imperial Age. Moved out across the center of the map. Trebs now to pressure down the TCs. The ranges are also like right underneath all the army from Dracken. So that won't be great. There's really not a lot of order to things right now for Wide. And again, he doesn't get Bracer. And so he's just going to be fighting with inferior skirms. I find the ranges to be a very weird choice. Would have loved to see some stables and have to see him try and go for knights. To be honest, though, he might not have had the gold for that. Because he's off of this gold. He ran out of this gold. And he's just now moved to this gold. So if anything, it would have just been light cav, I guess. So maybe in his mind, he realized that. I think from here, Dracken might... Some small things he could do is start to outpost the sides themselves. Keep an eye on that. That's a way that Wide can come back into the game. Raiding the outside could be really helpful. Look at that. He just noticed that villager was there. Dropped the stables. He's also looking for the relics with that monk. I mean, if he can hold... Maybe there is a chance here. He can start to raid Dracken and disrupt Dracken on the sides. Dracken was quite late to Bombard Cannons, which I was expecting to come out earlier. And so now, this is very uncomfortable for Wide, but if you've got all this vision on the sides, and you get another relic here, you're probably like, wait a second. I've got chances here. This is huge. To see that makes you feel as though you've got a real avenue to come back. But you also need something to dive here. If he was a Bombard Cannon Civ, he could sneakily snipe Trebs as he was raiding as well, but that's really tough to do. Dracken just waiting for those Bombard Cannons. And, ooh, hold up. So he saw the outpost. And, ooh, he also sees this. I think he's sensing that something might be up here. Saw the other outpost. It's a very well-timed castle, but that's also not a castle in his opponent's face. Which is what I was expecting. Which is what I think could have happened. maybe should have happened, but it hasn't happened yet. The eco's looking really good for wide behind this. Dracken kind of falling off a little bit as he starts to think about the other things here. Upgrades are coming in now from that blacksmith. I would actually love to see a double blacksmith right now from wide. I think it's worth it. Let's see how wide plays this. Still no bloodlines on the kip checks, by the way, but he does have 4 trebs. Aiming to push this castle back, but the first bombard cannon is here from Dracken. It's hard to see the bombard cannon in there, but he's in there. Right behind the castle, and I think Wide sees it. And Wide will just focus all his kip checks against that bombard cannon. He'll get it, but he loses the treb. He is going to take the castle down, though. Dracken loses his castle. Hold up. Also, Drakken's eco balance. He's got, like, nothing on wood, I'm noticing. Very little on wood. I think he's fixing that now. Sometimes in a crazy game, your eco will go all out of whack. He clearly was expecting the cav switch because he's adding in halbs now. But the halbs don't actually help him in the middle. Halbs could help him here. Does Wide see that castle? He does actually see the castle, which is interesting. And now a castle here from Dracken. That's a castle to keep his opponent off of that gold, I think. Now elite Karambit warrior for Dracken. That's another thing the castle can help with. Villager got converted here. But it's 6 relics for Wide in the monastery behind this castle. Dracken gets baited into the castle fire a bit. Light Cav still really can't raid a ton, but they could maybe loop around that castle, find some value. Drakken's opted for quite a few defensive castles here. But this has been spotted. So maybe Wide could raid there if you can think of it. I like the Karambit choice when you have this many castles. And Dracken is just backing up with another castle here. He used to work there, and they fired him. And so now he showed up during work hours to create a scene. And he's hoping that his former coworkers have his back, but they don't care about him. And they're just letting him just bonk on the door. They don't give a crap. They never liked him anyways. Come with me, guys. This company sucks. Nope. Actually, we need to pay our bills. These kip checks are super weak. The trebs are here from Dracken. Dracken goes for the castle now. The Karambits dive. The arms are behind. It feels like just enough from Dracken to push the middle. And this is not something that Wide can allow to happen. Wide needs to stop this. But with what army? It's mainly skirms. He will build a castle here. He will raid here. He will also raid here now. So all his army production has actually kind of been on the sides. But if he loses the middle of his base, this could be horrible for him. And he's panicking now. Another castle, more stables. Again, the upgrades aren't really great. I think Drakken's not going to lose all that much to these light cav. The castle positions that he has, plus a couple defensive Karambits could be enough there. Population still pretty high for Wide, but if Dracken comes in and drops another castle right now, right in the heart of this eco, this could be so strong. And he has every single building producing right now, or every single unit producing. Karambits, Arbs, Skirms. It's the perfect mix. Dracken only lost 16 vills this game. He didn't lose too much to the raids, but he's killed 56. And oh man, the relics. Just what every arena player wants to see. The monastery dropping the relics. Dracken will never let this out of his sight now. He'll lose 30 villagers at home before he lets these relics get away. But one's getting away. I mean, Wide's position, if he loses more ground, he's dead. So a lot of people will say, why put the relics there? Well, because if he loses more ground, he loses the left and the right of his base. So I kind of understand it. I just don't think he has the time and the upgrades for it, guys. And even if he had fully upgraded hussars and elite kip check, is that good enough against the amount of army that his opponent can spam? I'm just not so sure. I think this all stems back to the control that Dracken was able to gain in early imp. And it's been patient from him with these trebs. He waited until the right moment, strike, and he took that castle down. Starting to send a few karambits to the outside. Karambits forcing reactions and garrisons here. Here there's a karambit in the eco as well. And now the Trebs are just on the castle, and White is still hoping to get hussars out, hoping to get Kipchaks out to deal with this, and he just can't. Dracken wins his first series 2-1. A really good series, if you ask me. And promising signs for White and for Dracken. I think Dracken is still going to be very grateful that he won that first game, because that game was close to going White's direction, but also from White's perspective, while there might be frustration about losing that first game, you still got to win against maybe one of the better players in your group. So, as I said, you need to avoid getting swept. White had a really good performance. Sometimes in these types of events, if someone finally makes it somewhere, they're like, their accomplishment was qualifying for the event. So then in the event, they play like crap. That was not the case here for White. This was really well played. I thought this game was over early Castle Age. The fact we even got to this stage was crazy to me. But ultimately, really well played from Dracken, even though he got out microed, to just still get that really good imp time and push the middle here. So I think what White needed was he needed more upgrades for his cav. And maybe instead of like this castle, he needed another castle for Kipchak production. I think 2 castle Kipchak production and full armor on light cav, so he could spam some of that in front here, could have worked out. But the way he felt he was going to win the game was using the sides too. So it's tough to really combine all those things. It's really, really tricky, especially when you don't have the vision. So, okay, so let's do a quick little group review of what this group looks like. That way we can remind ourselves of what the other sets are going to be. I don't think Liquipedia will update immediately for us, but we can still look at Group B here in gold. So Group B is comprised of Dracken, Wide, and then Miguel, Mihai, Prisma, and Rapard. Rapard was in Gold League before, but he got relegated out. So he has experience, though, which I think is important. Prisma, just like Wide, on the younger side, next generation style player. He's qualified. So Wide and Prisma, the underdogs in this group. Miguel is like 15-year veteran. I don't know what type of shape he's going to be in. And then Mihai, I think, is probably the favorite for the group. Could be wrong, but I think Mihai's the favorite for the group. And Mihai's looked really good shape recently. So if I had to guess, I said this already, but I think Mihai will probably be like first or second in the group. Dracken maybe first or 3. Honestly, very unsure on Miguel. Last time he played Titans League, he told me it's the last tournament he was playing. And then when the admins reached out, it's like, hey, you playing gold? He's like, yes. So I don't have no clue where he's at these days, which could give an opportunity for Prisma, Rapard, or Wide to maybe snag 3rd place. So, yeah, good stuff there. Real quick look at Group A, if you haven't seen it. Deeker, Lucho, Overtaken. Those 3 players were promoted up to gold. Overtaken has been in gold like every other season, I think. And it's like been relegated by 1 game. It's been super close. I think he had 7 wins in the previous season and still got relegated. It was a crazy group. Slam, Sobek, and Vivi, I would expect to be top 3. Group C, Sizcon, Kingston, Lan, Running, Target, and Z40 is a crazy stacked group. That's a crazy stacked group. Lan had like 13 wins in gold, but didn't get promoted last season, or maybe 12. Kingston, I mean, he just qualified for the Garrison recently, so he's top 8 going to a LAN. Running's always really solid. He was platinum before. And then Target was in gold before. Z40 was in gold before. Sizcon is the only player who's never played in gold in that group. And Sizcon's also a really good player. Group C is killers. Just absolute killers. And then Group D, we have Ganji, Kazva, Lewis, Lix, Say My Name, and Stone Please. Also just a really good group. All the groups are so good. All these players are amazing. You have some older players here who are more or less active at certain times. So Kazva, I thought he played really well in the replacement qualifier we did to potentially get to Plat, which Vince eventually won. So we'll see how he looks. Lix is insane. Say My Name is insane. But how much do they prepare? Like, I was really pissed at Licks last season. Like, what, a year or so ago, year and a half ago? Because Licks had all the hype, and in Plat, he just, like, his strategy was bad. He clearly wasn't motivated. He had like 1 win or 2 wins. But I don't think we're going to see that again. I think we'll see a better version of Licks. And then Stone, please, who was promoted, and Lewis, who was promoted, are both really good players. So, Gold, in my opinion, is more stacked than ever. If you go back and look at the old groups, I think these groups are more stacked than ever. The next generation coming up are really exciting to see. So,